Right. I didn't know you were associated with the Black Hand.
Huh?
I didn't know you had any association there with the Black Hand. I didn't know that.
Yeah, Cassidy joined the Black Hand after she was kidnapped and went under the alias of May, or the Marionette.
Oh, okay.
She was technically like second in command with Chaos, but then
Sorry.
Chaos died, and then she avenged him. But then,
Yeah.
yeah.
I just gotta repost the. I got disconnected for like 2 seconds. I just gotta repost the
Oh, no worries.
podcast here in the Discord.
Oh,
Yeah, I
thanks.
was completely unaware of that. I just thought I remember the first character you had this iteration. I didn't
Yeah.
I had no idea if the cop that you had in the prologue survived or not until I think we actually had you on the podcast.
Oh, yeah, yeah. She's still alive. I just haven't used her yet, because I've planned different characters ahead, and I didn't think she was gonna survive.
You thought you were gonna get executed by the MPs as well?
Yeah.
Absolutely fucking lootly.
She thought I genuinely thought that we were just gonna get fucking shut out, and that was
Yeah, dude.
it.
Absolutely. When they separated the groups and said they were going to tell the other one that they weren't the ones going in the bunker, I thought, oh, they're just going to leave us. They're going to take the other group and
Exactly.
fuck off. That's all they're going to do.
Yeah,
Shitty
But
bastards.
luckily,
yeah. I've heard there was a whole like Discord dedicated to that to people that had been like arrested and
yeah, there was. Craziest thing is that I had like seconds to get to the bunker, because I disconnected, and I didn't have prior queuing at that time, so it was very hard to get back in the server.
oof.
After blue screening, but then I finally got back in. I didn't know my way, but I think Habit uh, DM'd me the way to get there. It's just, oh, it was a fucking mess, but luckily I survived.
You're not one of the
Yeah.
bourgeois priority queue people. The real upper class of We That Remain.
Luckily, I am now. I got it like I think like 2 minutes before the server opened up for prior queue and donators and whatnot.
Oh yeah, now it costs a little bit more.
Yeah, I'm lucky.
Yeah, excuse the fire alarm, by the way. I apologise about that.
No worries.
Well, yeah, let's talk about the fire alarm.
Oh, some dude in the studio flat above me set his cooker on fire.
Oh my god.
Jesus.
That's about it. Now my ears are ringing. It's that awful fire alarm.
Also loud.
Yep, horrible.
Good
That's a
God.
Not
college
quite ready for the
apartment, right?
apocalypse yet. Huh?
College apartment. No, uni apartment.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, yeah. But I'm
Yeah.
also 20 floors up, so we all stood in the stairwell thinking, do we want to go down just to walk back up 20 flights of stairs? No, we don't. Fuck that.
That's understandable.
Yeah.
Let's see how bad this fire is.
Honestly,
I'd,
the
I'd rather
genuine.
jump out a window.
Yeah, I'll take my chances. I'll get a bed sheet. Works in
Yeah.
cartoons. Okay.
Uh,
Oh, Jesus.
but so Tourette's fled the country. Um,
Hmm.
Tourette's fled the country. Fucking hell.
no, that it's a shame, man. Because I mean, I think I saw that character in a video or two around that
Yeah.
arc, but I never got to experience the full blown Because I remember you were making like pop noises, like with the
Yeah.
like you take like a oh fuck, I can't imitate it. Where like you take your thumb, put it in your cheek, and
Oh,
Yeah.
kind of roll it out. Yeah.
flawless.
That character was actually one of the most exhausting to play. Um,
Really.
because I did like at least a month of research before that, kind of talking to people, friends that I had with Tourette's and whatnot, um, streamers with Tourette's, and just researching it overall. So like when I imitated it, I wasn't making fun of it, and I was trying to do the most accurate representation of it. but it was very exhausting because I had to have my mic on like all the time, so I wasn't inconsistent with it. And kind of focus on speech and when to do it at times. It was just a lot, but managed to get it done.
I suppose you also don't know when people are around, right? Like, if you think you're on your
Exactly.
own, there's some dude round the corner. You want the first thing they hear is, imagine you're walking through a town and you just hear, "Fuck!" There's someone here.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, just like when I was walking by myself, I had to continue doing it in case someone stumbled across me, which happened way too many fucking times.
Well,
So, yeah.
that's dedication though to the craft of hey, I'm gonna pretend to be somebody else. That's
Yeah,
that's what you want. I mean, you wanna come up and hear that kind of thing going on outside of somebody's eyesight. You want that character to continue to be a character even when they're not
even
around other
away from
people.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose at least you want it to be believable that they're existing elsewhere.
Exactly, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's quite a few people you don't. Well, I suppose it depends on your perspective, but there are some people that don't exist outside of your perception in the game. It's like, you don't think, oh, they're probably in a settlement dealing with their own thing right now. It's.
Yeah.
Right. Well,
Okay.
yeah, and it should dictate. I think it should dictate how you go about looting, playing the game in general, which I think you've definitely portrayed. Because when you meet
Mm.
like somebody that's like, yeah, I was a pizza delivery driver before all this, and then you see him with like a plate carrier and
Yeah, stuff like that doesn't make sense.
Mm.
The only
yeah,
reason that my character began to wear a plate carrier was because her bodyguard, which was Misha, um, just advised her to wear one after hearing that Metallurg was apparently like people were trying the Grove specifically were trying to take Frasier and they didn't know if it would turn into a shootout or something one day. But after a while, she just took it off because her body isn't used to wearing a plate carrier all the time.
mm-hmm.
So yeah,
They're
I
fucking
tried
annoying,
sticking
man.
with just the casual clothing as well because I like just being very immersed no matter what, even if it puts me at a disadvantage. It's still
Yeah,
just worth it.
all right,
That shit helped with. I'm sort of the same. I like dressing in normal clothes and that sort of stuff. And
Yeah,
it actually helped my inventory management loads. You realize how much you don't need when you've only got 20 slots per clothing item.
that's so true.
yeah,
And the
yeah,
only I'm wearing an edgy set now though because my character is kind of edgy. However, she hates the fact that she is wearing all black.
Yeah.
However, she also hates any other clothing because of how girly it makes her look. So she's stuck with a dilemma.
Girly or edgy, that is the question.
Exactly. And then I make sure, like, anytime she wears a girly outfit for too long and looks at herself, like at all, looks down at herself, she just leaves to go puke or something like that. Because she just really doesn't like it.
You're the first character to die from cringe. Cringe to
Essentially.
death.
If no one kills me off, then that will be her death.
I wonder if someone could make a character that was so, like, let's say you're around human meat, and the rule
Mm.
is every time you're around human meat, you're repulsed by it so much that you vomit. So it's a genuine risk that if you're around human meat for too long, you will die from vomiting.
huh,
And that's just, hey, that's a rule that I have as a character. It's not even like a main thing, it's just that they have such a
yeah,
aversion to being around stuff like that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, like even when cutting meat with my Tourette's lady, she was raised very posh. She was raised in a mansion where people did things for her. So being in this world where you had to cut meat and shit like that, like hunt wolves and shit like that. Seeing that was a very disgusting sight for her, and yeah, she was locked in a shed just puking her guts out for a good while.
Mm. Yeah, no,
That's
I had that with Cos Remp in the prologue. Because Cos Remp stabbed a dude in a field, and the idea with Cos Remp is that he's meant to be a hard man for the television, and thinks that he is, but he's really not. So stabs a dude, walks away from the field, and then has a crisis about it to Stephen French, who's the most uncaring person on the planet. Just told him, "You're a bitch. Stop. It's your first time, really. Oh well, it's going to be many more from this point on." It's like, oh fuck.
just yeah, you can a genuine reaction out of something you could have otherwise just been like, eh.
Yeah, you forget that it's not normal to just stab
Go
people and
up
shoot
and
them in the
stab
street.
someone, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, for Americans,
Oh well.
it's how you get your citizenship here.
Yeah. I'm on my fourth stabbing.
That's
This
it.
week.
You gotta get 10 in the space of 2 months, and then hey, you're a UK citizen now.
My God.
That's right. Yeah, I've heard about that. You guys stab more
That's it.
than shoot.
Just a fucking requirement to do so.
Naturally.
No, it's nice to see those reactions. Especially with that human meat idea. That would be such a characters with weaknesses, I guess, in general, is what you want to see.
Oh, that's
'Cause-
reminded me. Oh, sorry, continue.
Oh no, I'm just saying. It's something that you would love to see more of, like somebody with an obvious weakness to something, because everybody has
Yeah.
something that they're just like, I'm not messing with that. Like the human meat thing, you were shuffling around earlier. It would be nice to see that kind of thing in a game. Like, oh God, like this guy is just going to continue, or girl's going to continue to vomit and vomit and vomit until they're just completely disgusted by something. Like there's an obvious flaw or weakness with this character.
Or even
Yeah.
someone having a nervous breakdown. Like when you're in a scenario where you know there's 6 different people out trying to kill you at one moment, while you're also trying to kill those 6 people, it would be nice to see somebody go, I genuinely can't deal with this, I'm hitting the ejector button.
Yeah.
Instead of going, alright, I'm gonna fucking kill them and blah 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 blah. Like, people aren't built for that all the time. It would be nice
Yeah.
to see someone that knows they're not built for it.
Mm.
And people always just rather, because they've either played DayZ PvP, they're just like, yes, I've got this.
Or
They
it's the
just-
opportunity for
yeah.
reputation in stories and things like that. It's like, well, you know, go live in the woods. Go be a mountain man for like a week.
Yeah.
It's
I've-
just kind of unfortunate how
Yeah.
some people just would rather stick to a very bland and tame roleplay, and it's just kind of lame, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's not all just gunfights, and it's kind of the point of the server is that it's not all killing each other. It's
Yeah.
other interesting things that happen around that.
Right, because there's some people that have like 12 kill streaks on their
Yeah.
current character, and it's like, okay, how many kills before you have any character development?
Or if you're gonna be that guy, figure out a way to do it that's actually quite surprising.
Interesting.
I
like,
mentioned
just-
earlier when Stephen French came up, he really genuinely never killed anybody. It was only ever influencing people or hiring other people to do it, but he would never be the guy that actually did it. But not out of, oh, I'm too lazy to do it. It was just that he was too busy to go and do that. He was doing other shit, and he couldn't be bothered to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I suppose you don't see that unless you're in the group, but
It's kind of like a puppet.
I'd imagine
puppet
then it comes
master.
into what's worth it for roleplay for everybody, and sometimes you have to be exclusive to the group you're with, and not everyone's going to know the intimacy of your storyline and all that sort of
Another
stuff.
thing that I've decided to add with my characters who are villainous in a way, or just deemed by people as bad, is that I show them the fact. I want to show the fact that she's also human. My characters are also still human. And behind the manipulation, behind her needs, her wants to like kill, to get people killed, to see war and whatnot, she still cries. She still has fears. She can still smile. She still does everything that people in a normal group would do. She still has the ability to have friends and enjoy life and whatnot.
Mm.
And a lot of people really don't humanize bad people,
Yeah.
which is another thing. They think that they should just be. I don't know how else to call it, but just edgy all the time and just speak in a very low tone. However, when my character is actually happy around people, she has a very high pitched tone, which sometimes gets made fun of by her friends, but it's fine in her eyes. But around other people, she is just reserved. She's quiet unless she actually feels comfortable enough to reveal something about her. Because at the end of the day, a lot of us still would like socialization, even if we are the bad people. We still want to smile, to enjoy ourselves as well.
Right.
Which is why I've kind of gone around and interacted with different groups and been friendly to them without malicious intent, just to kind of have her enjoy life as well. Despite her being the bad person in the story, she is
What
still human as well.
what she doesn't think of herself as evil either, I would assume.
Mm. She sees herself as right, her philosophy is right, and that other people are wrong for it. It's just the way that she's been raised to see the
Right.
world.
Yeah. This.
And you know the stories about how they have to kill their father or kill their parents, and they seem so relentless about it. When she finally told the story of when she killed her father, she like broke down away from everyone else because she still feels regret about it. And she channels that regret into hate to kind of just insult her father anytime he pops up in her mind. But she always has the fact that she wants him to look down at her, to like watch over her and
Yeah.
whatnot. Because killing someone isn't easy, and she has permanent regret for it, even though it seemed like the right thing to do at the time. She still took another person's life, and it was her family's life. It was her father's life, the last family member she had, and that's just had a toll on her. And the people who I've role played with has seen that and commented on that. I'm really happy that people have noticed that,
Mm.
but it's not everyone that decides to kind of go that deep into thinking about their character, maybe because it's a video game or just a non-fiction character, but
Well,
it would be
yeah.
nice to see
That's the per.
thought into
Yeah.
it.
That's why we're here, though. I mean, I think that's. I understand what you're saying, but I feel like a lot of people forget why they joined a roleplay server. You know.
Mm.
And that
It's like,
information,
yeah.
that I mean, that's probably not somebody you would just randomly tell. I mean, you got to have some sort of level of trust
Yeah.
to, yeah,
I suppose it's seeing aspects of that character that make people interested enough to ask about it as well.
Mm. Like she's told different aspects of the story as where she didn't kill her father, but she's told people that she wasn't the one who killed her father, so she could kind of not feel that grief in a
Mm.
way to kind of just make it seem like it wasn't her who did it, but she always knows she's the one who did it, and it always kills her inside.
Mm. Mm. There are, I suppose, also like there's interesting ways to tackle the characters that don't mind killing as well, right?
Yeah,
Like there's always going to be people that want to be those guys that kill a lot of people, and
the Mr.
there's going to be
Sniper
people that
Boy with like
yeah
8,000 confirmed kill.
yeah like I had a character at the start of this iteration that I wanted them to be entirely a sociopath but not understand that they were a sociopath and be confused
Yeah.
by it.
Mm.
So it's like, well, you know, I shot someone in the head today while they cried and begged for their life and felt literally nothing about it, and I don't understand why I felt nothing. And it's like, okay, well, that can come out in conversation. It just takes a while for that to come up. And how do you
Yeah.
deal with that with a character that doesn't care about trust and things like that? It's, you know, having enough
Yeah.
time to figure out the path. I think a good part of a good character is also coming up with shit on the fly. Like,
Yeah, because I have a lot of plans for my character, but a lot of the time I don't. I would rather just wing it
mm,
because I want to also experience it for myself.
Right. It's not like an icebreaker you share with somebody.
Exactly. Yeah.
that's it. It's like, how much do... Because I do see people, and I do appreciate that people put a lot of effort into the backstories when they post them, and they'll have like 3 pages of notes and things like that. But realistically, how much does that come up in conversation? You know,
Yeah,
and,
that's
unless
very
it's...
true.
And there's definitely been people that will sit around the campfire and go, oh, well, you know, it all started with my
Yeah, I don't have
great-grandfather.
time
And
to do shit like that.
it's like, okay,
I
shut the fuck
have,
up, I don't care. Like,
I have very detailed backstories and whatnot. However, people hear a quarter of everything
yeah.
because I don't have time to sit there and talk about my backstory. If someone's interested, then it's there in characters to go look at. But I don't have time to sit there and just explain everything because my character would not go through every aspect of her and how she became how she is because that's just stupid. It's just not how she is.
Yeah.
It's
No one
just
cares
not
what Luke
go through.
Skywalker did at the age of 7 on a moisture farm.
Exactly.
Like, no one's asking that question, so it's not an
Yeah.
interesting question to answer.
Yeah, I do know what you mean. And there are some people where it's like, man, I just met you. I got the life story already.
It just managed.
Yeah.
Someone just comes up. Hey, could I sit around the campfire too?
But
And then they ask, hey, so what are you doing here? I just say, oh, it all started when I was born.
If you have a
Born
moment to
into
talk
a
about your
family
Lord and
of
Saviour,
poverty.
me.
Just,
at age 2, yeah. But that's another thing though. There has become a point, I feel like, in this server so far, as of like today, to where sometimes you can't share stuff in game that you have done, even if it's not real, or even if your character actually did it, because then there's the fear of, okay, it's not going to take long before somebody hears this, and it passes through the rumor mill, and then you get executed for it.
yeah.
So it's kind of like,
Rumors are deadly.
Whether it's by
Yeah.
meta or just actual someone finding out, which usually, unfortunately, is meta. Someone just like looks at you and knows that you did it, and then they try metaing it in by saying, "This person's very suspicious."
Forcing the square peg in the round hole, and eventually you just break the board.
yeah.
You know.
It is hard though to share even if your opinion is somewhat bad or evil per se, but your character doesn't see it that way. There are people that will listen to that and then run to somebody and tell them, and then all of a sudden you're in handcuffs and you're getting executed somewhere. It's like, okay.
That was
Gotta
that was
love
a
stuff
barrier
like
I
that.
ran into with Aaron when Wyler or when Catalina died, was that I knew that Aaron did it. I just didn't know. Like, I specifically said to him, "Don't tell me how you've done it. I want to find out. I want to see if I can work it out." And the case in point was that I there was no way of definitively figuring it out. I could only maybe piece together about 90% of it. So it was enough
Yeah.
to go, yeah, it was him. But I could never know why, and I could never know, like I didn't watch the video. I still have only seen the video once of Catalina's death, specifically because I just wanted to make sure that I didn't, have an outside influence from it. Other than the fact that outside of the game, I knew he'd done that. And I suppose the other issue is that when people know that information when they're not supposed to know it, how often do they remember that in game? You could
Yeah.
accidentally say something to someone, and now that's canon for the person you've told. You can't really blame
Yeah.
them for not knowing
That's
that they
very
know meta
true.
information,
Yeah.
I've unfortunately had times where I've accidentally slipped up and said something that I read from a journal. I don't have that many times because I'm conscious that I'm in game, and it's only actually happened with like someone who I'm really close with. So we kind of just say we scratch it out and just say that it didn't happen because we understand that it's just a bit of a fuck up.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, stuff like when it's unconsciously in the back of your head, and then it's just that, oh, did I learn this in game, or like did it? It's just
Yeah.
hard to differentiate sometimes if you're not fully conscious of it.
Right. And yeah, it does require like a legitimate wait a minute. Did I like dev channels or journals? It's like, oh wait, yeah, no, I heard, no, I didn't. Wait,
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah. I always saw, and I wish people remembered this more when they're writing journals. Like, I always treat writing a journal as if, okay, if I died and someone picked that up, would I want them knowing what's in that? You know,
Yeah,
you get your body searched and someone finds a journal and reads it. It's like, well, it would be interesting if, I know people have made the suggestion before, it's been downvoted, but if the person's dead and you have a specific item on someone's body, then that qualifies you to be able to read their journal. It's not that it just dissipates into non-existence, and I think then journals would really change.
yeah, I agree.
People would be more careful.
I'm a lot more careful with my journals. I usually just do audio entries, but
Yeah.
because one day my character will die and everything on her body will belong to someone else, I keep her things vague. When she gets really emotional, then that's when things will slip out. However, she won't like mention, oh, I went after this person, oh, I have plans to kill this person, and how she's going to do it. That can all stay in her head. She doesn't need to say it out loud. All she needs to say it is to the people who's planning it with her. She doesn't need to plan to say everything in a journal or something like that.
How many times does a murderer have a Word document of their plan?
Fucking exactly.
Like it's, yeah, exactly. It's I think
It's just,
I might do that in the
yeah.
future. If someone kills me, I'll send them a message and be like, by the way, I'm giving this set it up with the mods. I'm giving this person permission to read my journals and treat them as if they've read them, and then they can share that information how they want to in game.
That would be pretty interesting. I can't lie.
Yeah.
I might make that a suggestion. But yeah, I don't know. I think because obviously some people write journals as a good way to timeline what's been going on, and you know, I've read back a few of my journals because I forgot a lot of the stuff that happened early on last iteration. It's a good way of me remembering, and you know,
Yeah.
some journals I wouldn't want to go out, and then some are, you know, that's fine. I don't mind people knowing it, but again, it just comes down to, would you want someone reading it? Same as like any form of war, you don't really want to keep battle lines drawn on maps in your pocket when you're on a front line.
Exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
everybody I know is here. All the important people are here. And here's where I keep my high tier weapons. Like, no.
No one would do that.
Mm.
You
Yeah.
keep that shit to yourself or to the people who want to know, who need to know that,
Yeah.
and that's it.
Like, no one's writing base codes in journals. It's only ever verbal. Like,
Exactly.
it's the same principle, I would have said.
It
I
is
fully
a
agree with that.
great way to express your character, to maybe help people understand what your character is. But then at the same time, it's like, well, it's not. It can't be used either.
Yeah, the most that I use journals for is to see the outcome of my influence on someone in
Yeah.
game.
Yeah, that's it.
So if I just had a really long talk with someone and it's like just been a really good roleplay experience overall, I would check journals to see how they feel about my character. Not metaing it, obvious. I won't put that in game because I know that I don't know in game that for a fact.
Kind of
And
like
if
a
they
reaction.
mention that they want to go kill me or something, then that's absolutely fine. I would willingly let that happen because it's interesting
Yeah.
to see just different things.
Journals are a really good barometer on the influence you've got, and when when you open up Discord and you see 5 journal entries in a row that say your name directly, you start thinking, oh fuck. It's not like oh great, the plan worked. It's okay, one of these 5 people is going to want me dead at some point. So
Yeah.
you know.
I hadn't looked at it that
um,
way. It's kind of like a thermometer or detector to what kind of impact your character has had as well. Like you said, because a lot of journals are reactionary to, like you said, people they met in game. They write down about it.
Yeah. It's
Well, they're
people do forget themselves sometimes, though. They do. Obviously, RP interactions are different to IRL interactions, and I remember
I
when
often, if I'm doing a different accent character, I end up feeling like I'm that character in real life sometimes, and then I would get interrupted mid RP, and like my doctor would call, or just someone would call, and then I just answer the phone in like a Russian accent or a French accent,
yeah,
and I just fuck myself.
that's when you're stuck on the phone for 15 minutes going. Yes, I can make next appointment. You sound different. It was got a little cold at the moment. Can't speak properly.
get the
Don't
rest.
worry.
Oh, it's perfect.
I remember when the pre-season was going on. I think literally when I loaded it in, and I was walking up to the Gorka station, and I was treating it like, you know, the normal world where you walk down the street.
Yeah.
And some dude walked past me and then turned around once I'd passed him and gone, "Dude, what the fuck?" And I turned around, I was like, "What?" And he goes, "Why aren't you speaking to me? What the fuck?" I'm like, "I don't know who the fuck you are. Fuck off." Just kept walking. It's like, yeah, I don't go up to everyone in the middle of the street, raise my hand, teabag 3 times in the middle of the road, and go, "Hey, bud, what's your name?"
No, the most that my character did, because she was racist, she did not like Westerners. If they were Russian, they would say "Privet," and she would just say it back. If they weren't, if they were Russian, then she would say "Privet," they would say it back. If they weren't, then she just would completely ignore them. If they tried to talk to her, sometimes it depends on the person, she would reply. Most of the time, she would ignore them.
I did give people special treatment on the when the bombs were about to go off when we were police officers, because my character is Cherno-Russian, and so when I was interacting with people I thought were from, and I was like, okay, that's cool. Anybody else I was more like strenuous with. Like there was the guy that I threatened to execute in the middle of Gorka, and I probably went too far with him because he had an American accent. It's like, yeah, fuck it. It's the middle of a war, and everyone's annoyed about war tourism. So fuck you. Yeah, no, absolutely, man. We're all nationalist policemen.
Like, any time she spoke to a Westerner, she would, like, spit on the ground and say, "Filthy Americans," or some shit like that. I felt racist for doing it, but, I mean, it's the character.
The most inaccurate thing about the pre-season was the fact that I was a journalist for, like, 3 weeks, and no one gave me shit for it. I thought everyone's just gonna hate me for being a journalist, and it was the entirely opposite. Other than, where'd you get the plate carrier from, bro? Where's it from? Where do I get the body armor?
Jesus Christ! And the people kept on coming up and asking for guns and protection and whatnot. Oh,
I just
so
remember
annoying.
I went after that guy was pissed off at me. I just went up to the front. They're like, "Who are you?" I'm like, "I'm a journalist. Can I have a press vest?" They go, "Why?" I'm like, "Well, it's a war zone. I don't really want to get shot for reporting." They're like, "Yeah, sure. Why not?" And just threw it out the window at me. I'm like, "Fuck it, nice one." For like 3 days, I was the most valuable person there because everyone was going, "What do you want for the press vest, mate?"
Right. It was like you said earlier. It was like
in fact, now
I'm surprised you didn't get robbed for that shit.
Yeah, no one robbed me. Well, to be fair, I spent all my time around Stephen French, and everyone was terrified of Stephen French because they thought he was a murderer. But no one, I don't remember seeing anybody else in a press vest. I think that was literally, I gave it to Stephen when I quote unquote left Cherno. Yeah, I don't think anyone else got one because I just don't think anybody was press and just asked for one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was genuinely surprised and like, yeah, sure, man, fuck it, why not? Yeah, I had a very easy time as a journalist. No one told me to fuck off.
Lucky.
Oh.
Lucky.
Yeah.
Very lucky.
Outside of the one time in real life where I've tried to do journalism and everybody hates you. It doesn't matter what you do.
Yeah. They just want you to get the fuck out of the face.
Yeah, you just get a stare of, "I don't fucking like you, scumbag."
Yeah, just that. They don't need to say anything. You just see the look in their eye.
Oh, dude, yeah. I was in a crowd once. I asked a dude an honest question, like, in line with what I was asking him about. and everyone around you is just giving you a death stare. And you finish, and he's just like, "You're gonna quote me directly, right? You're not gonna change anything I say." It's like, dude, I'm telling you, the point is, I'm getting your quote directly. Don't worry about it. It's like, we've filmed this. It's cool. I'm not gonna change it.
You're just gonna edit it so he says that he wants to bomb some sort of orphanage, or just do some wild shit.
Just really blatantly change the sentence. I am going to bomb the hospital tomorrow. Full of it's
just no one would believe that. It's just, oh my god.
To be fair, if I ever get around to editing the documentary, I interviewed one guy that said he was a rebel. I might do that just to fuck it up and add subtitles to it.
Yeah.
Had a very candid interview with a rebel that said he wanted to bomb a hospital.
That's what I half expected when you mentioned the prologue. I was like, oh yeah. He's gonna get some great footage too. I thought it was gonna be like one of them interview setup things, where especially the Stephen French one. Because I watched a stream where Wiley was holding the camera. I think it was very technical.
Yeah. So it was basically the way it was set up was 3 interviews like the Stephen French one, and then in between I'd have monologue segments with B-roll. So I think it was Stephen French, Tom in the outside town, and then the police, because it all linked up between the different villages.
Shit, I also remember you interviewing Tom there,
man.
And I was just teasing the fuck out of him.
Yeah, it's fucking great, honestly. And the being around the police officers was when my brain went, okay, I'm going to skew this entirely into like government propaganda. I'm not going to make this honest at all.
Right.
It's like, yes. None of it was going to be genuine.
The police were quite nice, but everyone just made them dickheads.
Everybody was trying to kill them. I felt genuinely bad for them.
Like, I'm very surprised that barely anyone hated Makarova. Or I forgot her name. But everyone was like, "Oh, Mime, you're so nice. You're best police officer, Mime." I'm like, "Oh my god, you're such a good." Like, it's just it was.
First one to pull a gun on literally everybody in any scenario. Oh, there's the gun. Yeah, that's it. That's it. I knew when the iteration was being discussed about having a police force, I knew that people would immediately want to be a rebel group for no fucking reason.
Everyone wanted the police versus thingy.
Law-wise, it makes absolutely no sense for there to be a rebel group, but there was still going to be one.
Right.
And I love the fact that the way it's set up, the rebel group, it's like they found a gun in the woods, they found a bullet for the gun, figured out how to load it, and then looked down the barrel to see if it was loaded and shot themselves in the face. Because they had momentum for one day when everyone was like excited. Then they started attacking the police station more, and then everybody that wasn't a rebel started hating the rebels for being an annoyance, because all we wanted to do was speak to the police and they were too busy being shot at.
Yeah.
And so then there's that. I think I've got a video of it on the channel where we're all sat around a campfire, and this dude runs up to the campfire and he's like, he has a conversation. He's like, "Oh yeah, but actually, I'm part of the resistance." And we all tell him to fuck off. It's like 9 or 10 of us around the campfire. He skulks away. It's such a bad idea, man. But I absolutely love the police station. I love the pre-season, honestly.
The pre-season for me was very in the middle, because I had to deal with a lot of asshole. Like, I kid you not, my sleep schedule was beyond fucked, to the point where I had to pretty much be dragged offline by, like, Thingy Grimmy, for example, when he was still, what's it called? HR. He would threaten to ban me if I didn't get offline, because I would be up until, like, 8 a.m.
Jesus.
Just trying to keep the peace because no one else wanted to be online.
Yeah.
So I would have been the only police officer on, and it was just so much.
Yeah, I thought about maybe volunteering to do it, but
yeah,
I knew the shitstorm was coming.
It was fucked, man. However, it was really funny being a police officer. Some of the requests were funny, some of the people were hilarious. It was nice having some of the people around.
I remember trying to convince the police to put me in prison. Like, I saw this dude attack someone in front of the station, so I pulled out a gun that I had illegally and shot him dead. And I just went up to the front. I think it was Crep Theft at the front, and I was like, "Yo, do you see that body in the street?" They're like, yeah. I was like, "I just shot him dead." It's like, "What was he doing?" "Trying to stab someone." "Oh, that's all right." I'm like, "Can you just put me in prison for like 10 minutes?" Or
Yeah,
something?
it's
Just
I think I
convince them to do
remember
it.
you doing that.
Insane.
Some dude comes up to the window. He's like, "What's he in for?" I was like, "Well, I killed somebody, and they wouldn't put me in prison for it, so I'm here now." Yeah, weirdly enough, Cost Rent
Unbiased.
somehow built up after the interview. I built up enough bro points with the police. I was fairly convinced I could probably get away with a drive-by at that point. And people would have just been like, "That's all right, don't worry about it."
Yeah, because Norman got locked up like 2 to 3 times just
Yeah.
for speculation, I suppose, which was true, but couldn't be
That
proven.
dude that stood in the doorway. I think it was when I got released from from prison. And the dude came into the doorway with a knife and started threatening me. Called me a naughty word that is the reason I can't upload the video. But I just stood there with all the police behind me like, "Fuck are you gonna do with that?" Not gonna do anything, mate. It's that scene from Legend, the Tom Hardy film, where it's what's that fucking rolling pin? What are you gonna do with that? Bake me a cake. I just stood there like, yeah, there's dudes behind me with guns, and he stood there with like a butter knife trying to threaten to stab me. Nah, this isn't gonna go well. But yeah, man, I did enjoy it. I don't envy being a police officer for 90% of it, but the end bit was cool.
The end bit was fucking awesome. The fact that like I looked at the police officers and I looked at the people who were actually confirmed going into bunkers and kind of just coming to terms with the fact that I'm probably gonna fucking die there. It
Yeah.
hurt. It really hurt.
I remember it was you, me, and Crep Theft on the hill before
Yeah.
we rounded people up in Gorka. It was just like, you know what? Probably not going to survive this, but it's our job, so
Yeah.
let's do it.
Like I was
fuck it.
looking at you rounding up the people and like it was just like I think you pulled him aside to kind of just come to terms with that or something.
Yeah,
Because I saw you guys just leave, and then I sat with the civilians. And I'm like,
yeah.
I hope you guys have a nice life after all of this. Hopefully
I'm
everything's
pretty
good.
sure I was just like, yo. I think that was also discussing whether I execute that dude in the street. Basically, it was like, obviously, like we all warned everyone: if you have anything you don't declare, you're damn near gonna get shot.
Yeah.
And I think I discussed with them, I was like, we can make an example of this dude right now, and they're all going to follow exactly what we do if we just shoot him in the fucking head. I mean, it was just like this 2-minute discussion of, should we, shouldn't we? Because like 20 minutes before we had the shooting in the hospital, when everyone was just like vibing out waiting for the event, and it's like, okay, well,
Oh,
people
dude,
already
that was
know we're gonna kill
nice.
them.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Christ.
It felt like I was on shrooms because of like the freaking lighting
Oh, yeah.
kept
Christ.
on. Oh, it was awful.
Oh, no, I really enjoyed it. Like, of all the events that have gone on, some of them have gone to shit, but that one went pretty much
Honestly.
spot on. Like,
That was a very good one. And then people started like shooting at us or something while we were bringing the potential bunker residents to the bunker.
yeah, they went back to Gorka, got the guns, and then tried to fight. That was really tense between the radio and the bunker.
Honestly.
So I remember thinking, it's like, all right, I've got a Glock that's worth it for like 25 meters, and I have a shotgun with rubber slugs. And I think I said to one of the MPs, it's like, do you have a spare AK in that bag? And he's just like, no, I don't. I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake. Just give me a
Oh,
gun.
man.
Give me something, please. But,
One thing about all of that, I didn't own up to it because, I mean, they didn't ask for anyone to own up to it, but I gave out guns to some Russians because they were Russians and she trusted them, and because simply put, we didn't get any food spawns for the police.
yeah.
No food spawns, no medicine spawns or anything until
Yeah.
later on. So I made a deal with Habit and his group to go get me some medication and food, like just a bag filled with it, and I'll give them all one gun each. And then Crep Theft and someone else got into Crep Thief got into a gunfight. No, got captured hostage.
Yeah.
By someone else. And then Habit and his friends were there to use the guns that I gave them to just kill the hostage takers.
I mean, even so, like the that shady dealing, that's cool. Like that's a subplot somewhere that
Honestly,
you know.
and
I'd
I mean,
never heard of that.
I don't know why they like decided, hey, you shouldn't give people guns and stuff. I mean, it's understandable, but I mean, some people, like for example, Habit, can really be trusted to not just go around and fucking kill people for no reason.
Yeah,
I mean, I
he's
felt
reasonable.
like giving it to trusted people would be understandable, but no.
I've been in a scenario tied up with a gun to my head around like 30 guys, and Habit's been the one guy that's like reasonably chatting and actually like genuinely talking and solving through things. Like I do think he's
Like,
you know.
despite Habit being that one PvPer, he roleplays exceptionally well.
Yeah, well that's it, right? It's usually, and it's the same for a few other people, is that they know that they're not here to PvP, they're here to RP.
Exactly.
And a lot of the times that interest from RP comes from, like, I only got into the server because me and a few other people that joined the server, we were defending the apartments in Severograd on an official server in a war with another faction for about 2.5 weeks straight. They didn't raid us in the end, they just got someone to dupe mines in the base, and we were just burned out. We're like, fuck it, we just want something else to do. We're sick of, like, literally constant warfare. And so we came to RP. It was like, well, we're not going to worry about gunfights and PvP. If we want to do that, we'll just go to a deathmatch server.
Exactly.
And I think that's the same with other people that are accomplished enough at being able to play in that style, that they try something new, and it turns out actually, because they want to do it, they're interested and learn from it. So
Yeah.
But the gun issue, I think, the problem is, right, obviously they had different reasons for different licenses, but every fucker and his dog was like, I just want to go hunting. So everyone got a fucking gun, and then by the time everyone decided, alright, we're going to stop giving guns out, except for special people, yeah, sure, people stopped because everyone already had a gun, but then there were people like Cost Remp, who genuinely had people trying to kill him in the middle of a war zone, who was just like, look, I really need this for personal defense. It's like, yeah, you and every other fucker that's come here in the last half an hour, piss off. Like, god damn it. I remember I got a shotgun, actually. I got a sawn-off shotgun somehow. I don't know how I got it, but, yeah, how did I get that? Oh, I got deputized! That was it. I got deputized for an afternoon to go and bring in Norman for being a creepy cunt. And I got back to the station with the shotgun because I think it was Grimmy said, right, make sure that's back here by the certain time. And I got back, and some other person was on duty, and I was like, by the way, I'm supposed to return this this shotgun and these slugs and shells. And they were just like, don't worry about it, just keep it. It's like, okay. You know, all of a sudden I was like the most deadly person on that street. It's like, oh, I don't like this now. It's not cool. Yeah,
It's all fun and games until you become like the public enemy. You have
Yeah.
everything that people want.
Quite literally, the only thing I didn't have was the Scorpion. And I was about to buy it. Like, everyone says they were going to buy it. No, I was on my way to pick it up, and then it was like, oh shit, yeah, server's ending. Very nearly became the fucking #1 person to rob.
Just needed a few more things.
Yeah,
There was
well,
another thing that went down. There was a really heated argument that went down at some point. I can't remember what it was about.
between the journalist and somebody else.
Yeah, I think it was they were hunting you, right?
Uh,
Or there was a mob after you, and you were in a shed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Holy
think
shit.
I don't think I was in the mob. I think I was just following the mob, and then I got caught up in something. I can't remember who. Oh no, it was I tell a lie. Stephen French did kill someone. I'm pretty sure he just shot someone outside of the shack you were in.
There, yeah. It was.
Yeah, no, it was the doctor that was fucking having a go at everyone. And she picked the wrong person to have a go at. So Stephen French shot her. Yeah,
He got her a gun and then she got all salty about it.
Then some dude shot Stephen with a rubber slug. Everyone's crying for execution, and the police were just like, "We don't have time for this. Fuck off."
That was
God,
like
that was That was heated. That was genuinely like.
Yeah, here's how to explain it. It's my vocabulary. I say it in every other sentence.
Yeah, it's unfortunate when people didn't understand the vocabulary around Mr. French, so they weren't used to it. They didn't quite understand that I'm going to stab you in the face, you cunt, just meant stop talking. It didn't mean I'm actually going to stab you in the face.
Yeah.
Stephen French and Stephen French.
Uh,
Really is just him.
I was wondering, if he was, because that's the only time I think of Foxy, right?
Yeah, so Foxy Farmers, better known as Mike Oxlong, he basically I joined We That Remain and played it for a few days, just seeing what it was like, and then I sent a message to everyone and was like, hey, you might want to try this. It's not as tense, it's not as well. Little did I know. So I bought quite a few people over with that, and we all sort of thought, well, it's a bit weird and we're a bit uncomfortable with it. And Foxy Farmers is the last guy you would ever expect to be on an RP server. So his goal was more or less what our entire goal for the iteration turned into, which was how much can we fuck with people on the internet. Yeah, and that was his existence for a few months. He's genuinely just he's not the type of guy you would ever expect to be doing that sort of thing. But he slowly realized, in actual fact, it just meant that he didn't have to abide by social norms, and he could just tell people what he thought.
Yeah.
So he tends to just play like Mike Oxlong. There is no difference between him and Mike Oxlong. There's difference between him and Stephen French, and there's differences between some of his other characters. But yeah, him and Mike Oxlong are just synonymous.
It made for a great character, sure.
Oh yeah, it's memorable. I feel like the problem is now I hear like the joke of the name Mike Oxlong in real life now, and it's in my head. It's just, oh yeah, We That Remain. I don't think, oh, that's a funny joke. I got so used to just using that name normally and not, the joke got desensitized to me.
Yeah.
And I'd like to think that other people have that now. So I remember some mad cunt on a We That Remain server that was called that.
That was kind of the power struggle, I feel like, in the beginning between Stephen French and the Tower. Well, the Tower wasn't really the Tower at the time.
Well, it was weird because that only started out of a middle party, this cheeky little bastard that was saying things, and I brought Stephen French and the Tower like together just to be like, hey, by the way, this thing doesn't exist that you're arguing about. And I think both sides just kind of forgot what they were arguing about and started making stuff up about each other. Because naturally, as Stephen French does, he just calls everyone a nonce and that they've killed people. And then the Tower started saying that, Stephen French had killed everyone, and it just de-escalated. Realistically, that whole thing was about nothing. It was just people shouting at each other.
Yeah, because we had Dean Ford on a few weeks ago, and he said, and when he was at the refuge, he said in one day he had Stephen French come up asking him to help him with the Tower, and then he said 6 hours later in game, the Tower comes up asking him to help him with Stephen French.
Yeah, that's it. We did have a few times where we considered going to different groups that we heard about, and then we're like, nah, it's not really worth it. The more you spread it around, we knew that the Tower would also go there if they hadn't been there already, and it was like, okay, well, we'll deal with it differently. Because of, and I guess this goes back to being the bad guys as well. You don't have enough time to sow the seeds when you immediately start as a bad guy.
Right. Exactly.
Like the whole Vanguard thing and the Vanguard raid setup from last iteration, that was only able to be prepared because it was already a month of going around and meeting people and getting friendly.
Rumor mill.
Whereas, we just had no time for this iteration. Well, we wanted to deal with stuff differently as well. We didn't want to just be Moravians again because it would have been boring and all that. But, it's I won't say we were entirely different. Again,
Yeah.
we just sort of set out with an idea and thought, let's try it. Let's see if it
Well,
works.
I did like Stephen French a lot because I tried to kill him in the prologue as Norman,
Yeah.
and then I had like a little group with me for like a day called the Sons
Mm.
of Mother, and they killed somebody that they thought was Stephen French's friend, but I guess
Yeah.
it didn't turn out they were. And they just, but then later on, even though there was the little bit of hostility uh, when the narration began, and Norman bumped in the fringe, I mean, he didn't like hold him to it, you know. It wasn't like, oh,
Mm.
son of a bitch, you tried to kill me, now I'm gonna kill
I
you.
I can't tell you how many times we were stood about, uh, knowing where Norman was, and I had to go, no, Stephen, today's not the day. Let's deal
Oh
with this
fuck.
first. There was maybe 4 or 5 times where it was, I think when the hotel was starting up as well, it was like, uh, it's like, oh, it's great. I know exactly where he is. I know who he's with, and we know what we can do. I'm just like, yeah, but we've also got this other group that we're trying to deal with at the moment.
Hmm.
It's not like Norman's gonna wage a war. He's still gonna be there once we're done and all that sort of shit. But, he forgot about the whole prologue thing as well. He forgot about
Oh,
trying to
good.
kill each other.
Okay.
Can't remember what reminded him,
So
but
that explains it. Yeah.
yeah, he just he just forgot, and then one day he was like, "That fucker tried to kill me." No,
Well,
actually,
that's
I think more accurately, it was that fucker made people think I'd murdered someone that he'd actually
yeah,
killed or something
yeah.
like that. That was it,
That
yeah.
that's what it was. Yeah. We they'd killed somebody that we thought was associated with French, and then they
Mm.
blame it on Stephen French,
Yeah, that's it.
but it never. Um, I think Wyla kept ratting on me
Mm.
to Norman to the police, and it,
I think I said to him as Cos Rep as well. He was saying that someone was making a rumor up about him. I think it's in the interview where he's like, "Yeah, someone's made up a rumor about me murdering someone." I was like, "That must be unnerving." He's like, "No, it just keeps the tension off the bad shit I'm actually doing." It's like while people are worried about me murdering people, I'm actually just robbing them. They don't need to worry about that. It's like, okay, good man.
uh,
Yes,
um,
he always had a way to spin shit. That was the
yeah.
cool thing about Mr. French.
I suppose the initial point though was that even it turned out that way, even if we forgot about it or not, at least he didn't immediately come and try to kill Norman off. I guess is what
No.
the point I'm trying to say. It's like there was um he had rights to like
Mm.
rule wise, but
Yeah. But the thing
um
is, the world ended in between that.
you're
He
right.
had
All right.
more shit. Everyone had more shit to think about than what was going on before the bombs fell. So
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, no.
I guess he
I
could have held that grudge though, and just
Mm.
be like, damn, if they can try
yeah.
killing me, I'ma find him one day.
All right.
But as was French's character, he was so busy he forgot. He's
Yeah.
just like wakes up one day. Oh yeah, that dude.
I know he did try to take me away one day to like a he said he built an asylum
I, I don't know about that one.
for people like me. And then I talked my way out of going somehow, but I guess the point I'm trying to make is if I tried that today, I think Norman would have probably be dead within the week instead of
Mm.
getting. I got like 3 months out of him. I'm just
From the people that I know that wanted Norman dead, it was a series of like luck that other things were going on. Like
mhm,
wasn't at the top of the list, but he was like second or third on the list, and it just never worked out right for timing.
right.
But
It's gonna get brushed.
I'd imagine you got cool shit done in that time though as
Oh
well.
yeah, yeah. A lot of meta, a lot of characters, a lot of storylines. We started the whole
Mm.
Metallurg thing.
Yeah.
Um, but that my kind of point, I guess I want to say is that people kind of kill people too fast. So
Mm.
I feel like
Yeah,
today, if I tried that like right now, the state the server's in, I could have never had Norman more than a week, maybe.
that's true.
I
Uh,
think.
One thing that I like doing with my characters is just robbing someone, and even if someone's wronged me, I would rather give them a reason to come at me again
Mm.
instead of killing them.
Mm.
If someone takes something from me, like kills one of my friends, and I find them, I would rather torture them and then humiliate them so they have a reason to come back to me so I could humiliate them again or kill them or they kill me.
Yeah.
Either situation is an amazing roleplay scenario because
Right.
of that continued shit that's happened.
We kicked the door in on a base. Where Epsilon were set up last iteration, and it turns out none of the guys we were there for were in. It was just a bunch of randomers, and we got this dude in the house. I'm Richard B. I think he's called in the Discord, and I went outside with Steven for a minute, and I was like, I don't think he's got anything. I just want to fuck with him. So we interrogated him and made him think that we thought he was more important, and that he knew stuff and all that sort of shit. And I took him outside, took him for a mock execution, got everyone around and all that sort of shit, and then did the thing of take the bag off your head and all right, turn around, walk that way, and keep walking. If I see you again, I'll fucking kill you. And
Yeah.
as he was walking away, I stopped him and I said, "Remember, I made the choice not to kill you, so don't fuck up that choice. You've got an opportunity." And he just went. I obviously didn't see him again. I was dead in the next like 4 or 5 days or something. But it was like, okay, sure, that's a consequence that can get me killed, but it's also another story for him to be like, oh yeah, some dude like terrified me and then made me think maybe it's not worth getting into a fight.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's gonna
What
tell.
with this character, I plan on like humiliating or robbing people, to make them go spread that message to whatever group they are. If they're just a solo player, then I'm not going to rob them or bother them because it's not going to have that much of an impact compared to if they hear one of their group members radio like, holy shit, all my stuff has been taken. They said that there's this person and they're in this base. We should go kill them. No one fucks with us. That causes a lot.
Yeah.
It's just, I could roleplay, I could pretend to be the tower. I could just put on an armband and say that I'm the tower, the tower sends its regards, or just something like that. And then they'll go tell their group about it. They'll tell any alliances they have about it, and then they'll set up something to go fuck over the tower because of what they did to their friend.
Right. It's just
Which
not.
is just
People.
There's not
cool
enough
stuff
of.
like that.
Yeah, yeah. It's stuff like that it just doesn't really seem like it's used a lot, to my knowledge,
Yeah.
as of right now.
I've not seen someone do that.
It's
Maybe they've done it in like iteration the 1.0 or something like that when I wasn't around, but I don't see people get that creative. And I think a lot of people want to limit themselves out of fear they'll go like a step too far or just not wanting to put in the effort because it is kind of just a game at the end of
Yeah.
the day.
Some
And
people
people
don't have
just
the
don't wanna
confidence to
put
pull
in
it
all
off
of
as
that.
well.
Exactly, yeah.
Like if you, it's the same thing as in real life. You put high vis on and walk anywhere, people let you do it. And it's
Yeah.
the same thing. If you dress up as a member of a faction or in the style of a person, like you can really fuck with people. It happened entirely by accident. But last season when we thought we were hunting DS, and it turned out it was actually Lectar because they'd switched clothes just by chance the day before. So the report we got about what DS was wearing was now what Lectag was wearing, and so, we could have thought for the next few days, oh yeah, we totally killed him. Like, yeah, we wouldn't have known any different. But
Yeah.
no, people can do interesting shit, and I suppose it's the same that if you rob someone wearing an outfit and say that you're from somewhere, it's you can really cause some shit. But
Yeah, that is an interesting idea.
I
think
do
I've
wish as well
seen
people get really caught up in executions, and I think they don't realize the benefit to spending time with the person that you're going to shoot.
Exactly.
Like we really put in the effort, like of the people that we tied up in at least the start of this iteration. I think every time we did it, we were probably sat with them for about an hour, like talking to them and giving them like every scenario in which they could, give us reasons to why they weren't going, unless it was contracted and all that sort of shit. But if it was for personal reasons, it was like, okay, well, here's what's going on, here's exactly why we're doing this, and here's why we think, this should happen. Have you got any thoughts? And they'd go through and say stuff, and then we'd slowly suggest to them why, no, they shouldn't be breathing at the end of the conversation, but pretty much, it happened with I think 2 people, and both people after the fact messaged us and were like, by the way, I don't have any like bad feelings about this. It genuinely is just nice to have that conversation and know what's going on and all that sort of stuff. As long as it's transparent to the people.
Yeah.
Like, what does it matter to them? They're going to be dead in an hour. Like, you know. But, yeah. Then there were the little things. There was like throwing them in the back of a truck with a bag on their head and blasting like Willie Nelson and Elvis Presley songs all the way there. Just being like, you know. Or one dude, we drove around in circles and like we put him into a truck, put the bag on his head, drove around for like 3 songs in a circle, got him out of the truck and went, we're here. Took the bag off and he goes, are you fucking serious? I've just been sat in the back of the car. Love it. I love it. But again, they'll be like, people don't do that. That's a unique experience for them because they get to go, oh yeah, I had this character once. They just fucked with me for like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
There's no reason why. It's just something else. Like, get more creative with doing that shit to people because they'll see the value in it. Like,
exactly, and they almost appreciate their death a little bit more.
Yeah.
Instead of like, oh.
Well, yeah. Like we killed a dude, and we really did explain to him why he was dying, and we laid it out to him that if he dies now, it saves more people dying after the fact. And he was like, you know what, I'm cool with that. That's fine. Like, he bought the argument we were giving him. It was like, sure, nice one, and no worries. Like, he was happy with the way that his character went out. Like, obviously, everyone's disappointed when the character dies because they don't get to do all the shit they want to do. But you know, if it serves a better purpose for other people in their group and all that sort of stuff, then it's never too bad.
If I ever die with this current character, I know that the one thing that I know about my character is that she's in the world to cause conflict and to see conflict happen. Conflict doesn't die with her because war never dies with just one person. So even if I die, other people could still be fighting over something that she did, or just over something that conflict aspired, like caused, or something like that. Just any sort of conflict, and she's there to kind of just see everything and also cause more because she just wants to see people fight. Because that's how she sees the world as. So even if I die by anyone, I want it to be at least a good roleplay death, which is why I'm not going to like run into gunfights fucking blind and shit like that. I want to die by someone who genuinely knows what they're doing, to give me just the death that feels satisfying.
Yeah.
Because with a lot of people, they don't ever get that death that they want. The death that's actually satisfying, because people don't roleplay it out. Say that you kill one of their friends and they finally capture the person who killed them. It's just an instant, oh, yep, you're done, you're dead.
Right,
nice.
right.
It's never why did you do it? Why did you do this? Why did you do that? Why do you not understand how I feel? What made you do it? There's no conversation. It's just straight, you're done, move on with the day. It's just...
Especially when it's like rumor stuff too. When you instantly know you're going to get killed off a rumor, it's like, oh my god.
Yeah.
You know, you have no chance of talking your way, especially when you get that, when they let you know almost off the bat, like in a better sense that there's no way you're getting out of this, like you're dead.
Yeah.
At that point,
that was the most metal thing about being able to play Tulak, especially when I'd been contracted. Like, there was moments where people would be around, and obviously, you know, they'd surrender and stuff. And I'd just be like, I'm gonna be honest with you, Chief. You're gonna die today. Like, there's no getting out of this. I'll explain to you. You can ask all the questions you want, but you're going to die. And most of the time, people just go, okay.
Yeah, I'm very happy that when I had to kill Crimson as well, everyone actually allowed me to have that last
If I'd have fucking run like 3 seconds quicker, I turned around and I was like, oh no.
Get fucked.
I know where this is going. I'm running, the gun gets out, I'm like, fuck.
I was really hesitating as well, because she didn't want to take it, but then when I heard, like, you say, no, that wasn't a part of the deal.
I knew that fucking weasel would try that shit. I was like, fuck, why did we let that go down?
The satisfaction. I'm like, I don't want to see anyone kill this man. I'll have to do it myself. And then when I heard, no, that's not part of the deal. Just like, yeah. It's still, I didn't have time to like look over to you because that's just it. Yeah.
I was only pissed because we'd been contracted to kill him, And all it meant was that I had to go to... It wasn't that we were getting paid, it was that I had to go back to a client and go, they're dead, but I didn't do it, so
Yeah,
sorry.
it's just...
It's like, fuck, man. But, yeah,
It was
like...
very surprising that everyone actually gave us the space that was requested
Yeah.
and didn't just be cunts and stick around.
It's like, I think the only... Especially with characters that don't get the deaths that they want, like... That's why I'm so proud of Henry as a character, was because I really did get the driving off into the sunset ending. Like, everything was wrapped up in a bow, everything we'd set out to do was done. Like, shit didn't work out right. But then there's, like, Mike Oxlong, I've got the video of his death, but I haven't uploaded it because it's so, like, anticlimactic. But he died the perfect way for his character, because we were in the Oasis when the gunfights were going on, and he was saying the usual shit like, "Oh, what if we turn on Jackson and that now and just gun them down from here?" And I was like, "Nah, like the usual style. He'll say something, I'll correct him." And eventually we were like, "Right, fuck it, let's just send rounds into that little compound just to see if we can hit anyone through the tents." And you know, classic Mike Oxlong fashion. I'm in the middle of the Oasis radioing someone, and I just hear that Mike's mic goes off, and then I'm like, Mike, Mike, and I run around to find his body. I see his body at the top. I'm like, oh fuck, there we are. Yeah, just immediately headshot as a consequence of it. But it was the perfect way for his character to die. It was gonna be that, or him telling 12 people to fuck off and going down fighting them. But if it's part of the character, that's cool. If your dude's like some untrained militiaman that's like some farmer that doesn't want conflict, but then decides to have a gunfight with 12 people, then it's a bit weird.
Yeah,
But
honestly.
if he's an inflammatory dickhead like Mike Oxlong, then perfect. Absolutely works.
Like, could have people role-playing as children and somehow they know how to use a fucking
God, yeah.
sniper. Like, hello?
Start
What have
this
you been doing
iteration,
in your
yeah.
childhood?
I ran up to a base that got cleared out because there was some new people in it, and I was just making friends. This dude runs up with like 2 AKs on his back and a rifle in his hand. I'm like, "You're right with that, Lord?" And like, "Yeah, I'm really strong." In a childlike voice, I was like, "Are you okay?" And I turned to the dude next to me and was like, "What's up with him?" And they go, "Oh yeah, he's 12. Don't worry about him." I'm like, "How the fuck are you carrying all that shit?"
What?
It's like full military gear, plate carrier with 3 rifles. It's like, oh, come on, try and just not carry guns. Like as to like for the start, I only ever went around with a revolver on because I didn't see the need to have anything else. Didn't have body armor or anything. It was only when a rumor started that we'd tortured someone and that people would out to kill us that I started wearing body armor because I didn't want that shit to go down.
That makes sense.
And even then,
And, like-
I made the character learn how to use a rifle. I didn't just go, "Oh, this is how you do it." It's like, right, show me how you do this shit. I don't know what I'm doing.
With my character, who was 18, with literally 0 training with any weapon, has fired a revolver twice, and that's it. She didn't know how to use anything, and she still didn't know how to use that revolver, so she missed the majority of her shots. And even though it was very tempting to hit the shots, because, I mean, you want to be useful in some way and not fuck up, it was... And she also had a very busted arm, because she didn't receive good treatment for her arm, and she had a really big gash in her arm after a bit of an incident. And I role-played not being able to lift up a weapon, not being able to lift up her arm, not being able to carry strong objects or like large objects or anything, not being able to put on body armor, and that was for the majority of the majority of my life with her, until she finally started to get better and better over the days that went by. And so for the beginning, it was just all, she was very weak because of that arm, and she couldn't use that arm. The only time she could use or like fight was if she used a pistol, a SMG, but that's only in single fire.
Yeah.
And melee weapons, but one-handed melee weapons, and that's what I limited myself for the longest while. And I couldn't base build or anything.
Yeah.
But anytime she overworked herself, anytime I felt like she did too much, then I would just kind of vocalize all that pain and whatnot, just to kind of really get into that feel and be consistent with her injury.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, I just doing stuff like that is I've barely seen people really put in that effort
Mm.
for anything like that because they don't want to
Hmm.
be a detriment. They don't want to limit themselves that much.
Yeah.
Or have a weakness of any.
Exactly.
Mm.
With
Yeah.
Vivian, she couldn't see properly without her glasses, which is why during the day she'd usually wear her glasses, and at night she would usually wear NVGs.
Yeah.
And it's just having those little disadvantages kind of just make your character seem realer, just have
Mm.
that kind of realism added to them because they're
Yeah.
That
not perfect.
that was a really cool moment of the last iteration. And when I felt a bit like an asshole when I was Henry, it was because when we decided that we were going to do the final like raid on Devil's Castle, like when it was just the ragtag group, I was looking
Mm.
around and it was like, okay, some of us have done this shit before. Then there's people like Catalina and Blevin who just no, they're not gunfighters in any sense. And we had
Yeah.
them all sat in a group and all convinced them that we're not here to do the job properly. We're here to either weaken it or inspire other people to do it. We're all going to die here. Just do the best that you can. I remember I was watching the clip today because I was going through all the footage, and when we were all walking off and we split off into two groups, it was like this moment of, all right, bye. This is going to be the last time I see you, so get the fucking job done. And all I'm
Yeah.
thinking is, yeah, I just convinced people that aren't gunfighters to go and die. And then, of course, nothing happened. But even that threw some of our characters, and like, I know Catalina's character changed a little bit. Henry was fucked up after that, because as far as he was concerned, he was dead on that day. And every day after that was like, I'm not supposed to be alive. What the fuck am I doing here?
Yeah.
And then everyone just died, like, for the next week. Like, Mike died a few days after that. Ben died. It was, like, mental. Just everyone started dropping. But,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
And
think
I suppose
that.
that informed the decision for Henry to leave and Tom to leave, because we both went, we're done. Like, let's just fucking go. And,
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, you feel like an asshole when there's people that the characters aren't built for fighting, and that, they stick to that character. It's really good.
Yeah. I've had interesting things like that. Um, it's just seeing people actually really stick into their character and being able to see their emotion
Mm.
through their character. It's just such a nice roleplay experience.
Mm.
It's
Actually
just
seeing character development
amazing.
as well, it's really rare.
Exactly.
Um,
Mhm.
Like
yeah,
at first, you could have a really rocky situation because not everyone in the apocalypse would go up to someone and be so friendly. Hey, my name's
yeah,
Bob.
yeah,
I used to work as this and this. Oh, my base is down there actually. If you want to come swoop by, no
yeah.
one would do that in the actual
No.
apocalypse.
All right.
Yeah,
And
that
just
was it.
seeing trust actually build up with certain people to where they actually trust you to like stand outside their base or something
Yeah.
like that, or trust you enough to say something. It's so much more rewarding,
Mm,
and it
yeah.
just feels so much realer and just worth those final moments of where you depart with them or where just
Mm.
something, a big turning point happens. It makes it feel 10 times more worth it when you build that with them and you
But
don't rush things.
I mean, like you said with the base thing, like at the start of the Moravians and all the way through the Moravians, there was maybe two or three people we told where we were based at, and that was
Yeah,
it.
I
Like we
never knew
never
where your
gave it
base
up.
was, and I've
Yeah,
heard of the
exactly.
Moravians. I never knew.
I still won't say fuckers. And we at the start we didn't have like a leadership group. It was just three of us that were like, right, let's do these things and split off and go and do these jobs. But people would keep asking who was leading and who do we speak to for leadership and all that sort of stuff. So eventually it just came round to me. So then Henry goes from a dude that's not interested in leadership to falling into being pushed to lead, then having to deal with like three settlements going to him, then having all these raids happen, slowly building up, building up. The Oasis gets built, all these people come together, then everyone starts fucking dying. It's like, oh yeah, so that build up from something he didn't want to do to something he has to do to now everyone's dead and it's his fault. Or as far as he's concerned, it's his fault. It's like, right,
Yeah.
well, I'm just going to leave Chernobyl then. It's like, it's a character arc that doesn't end quite in a happy ending. But as far as I'm concerned, he's still breathing.
Yeah,
Still
fair
breathing.
enough.
Him and
With
Tom are out there.
Vivian, it's the same thing with Vivian actually. Like
Mm.
how Alexei was the closest person to her, and of course she had a wife and everything. However, the fact that Alexei was still alive
Yeah.
was the sole reason why she didn't kill herself when Ash died, when Robin was continuously just being Robin. But when
That
she
piece
also
of shit.
had Robin killed, and everything, you
You
don't
fuck!
get used to murder. You don't get used to it. And despite how fucked up she was in her head, you still don't get used to seeing your own damn son die, like to what she saw as her son. And he wanted her to live. Everyone who died wanted to see her live. I don't know about Robin. Everyone who died wanted to see her live. And she felt chained to this world because she felt like she wouldn't be accepted if she died. So she couldn't have the ability to kill herself. So she just continued living in the same torment of feeling like everything was her fault, that Alexei died because she couldn't get him help in time and whatnot. And she didn't really get that happy ending. Sure, she stayed with Ava, her wife, and whatnot, and escaped from Shanaris. But at what cost? Because her mind is just fucking shambled at that point.
Yeah.
And
You-
she
you were the
only
first
lived
one.
out of guilt.
You were the first one, I think, through the whole iteration, that made me think I was going into a situation where I was definitely going to die. Because
Hell yeah.
I went into the rant about killing you in front of Ava, and then
Oh, Jesus Christ.
you came by with like 3 dudes, and we went into the field. And I thought, right, okay, well, they're going to kill me, and we're in the field. And I didn't know all the information at the time, but at the time,
Yeah.
what it seemed like was, I think one of you asked me what my name was, and so my name was Henry. And they're like, why do we know the name? I'm like, I lead the Moravians. And it felt like things just decompressed a little bit.
Yeah.
And so for like a week after that, in my mind, I thought, oh shit, if I'd have said anything else, I was probably dead. I was like,
Kid you not, if me and Tom were talking along the way, and we were preparing everyone to make sure that they had ammunition and that me and Tom had our guns on full auto. And I literally was talking to him, if he says anything that rings an alarm, you know what we have to do, right? Which is why Tom was also with me. I was like, we were both hoping that we could just diplomatically solve things, but we also had the feeling that we might have had to, like, fight.
yeah,
In case, because we wiped Robin off the earth. We
Yeah, naturally.
burned his clothes, his body, his guns, everything. Actually,
Yeah.
I only had his M4, but I changed all the customizations and burned it.
yeah.
And if you knew that, like genuinely, like knew that, we thought we would have to kill you for it.
Yeah, yeah.
To just the whole no witnesses kind of thing.
That's it. All
But
I
then,
knew
yeah.
was him sending me a radio saying he was going to visit you, and that was the last thing I heard. I was like, right, well, that's it. Everyone else is like, I haven't seen Robin. He just said he was going to see Vivian. I'm like, oh, right, okay, well, I best ask questions then.
Maybe
But,
we could have just played it off of she rejected him, he got depressed and went to go kill himself. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe, perhaps. I mean, that situation informed Henry getting an ego after that point. Because there were times later on in the iteration, because I don't know if you remember, I didn't have any guns on when you came out into the field, because Ava specifically
you
said,
didn't,
take all
you
your guns
didn't.
off.
I remember that. You
Yeah.
just was wearing a white t-shirt, and I think you still had your plate carrier on.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I went out to meet this other group. I can't remember the fucking name. Someone else that wanted smoke or something. And it was almost the same scenario where they're like, okay, well, we don't know who you are.
Yeah.
In my head, I was like, all right, I'm just gonna fuck with them. So I stood in the field and just went, say my name. And it took like a minute for them to catch on. They went, what? And then some dude in the back goes, oh, right, okay. And I just stood there like, say my fucking name. I might dig the clip out and upload it, but it's just basically the fucking scene from Breaking Bad of like, say my name.
Just say my name.
Say my name. Henry. Yeah, you got that right.
Goddamn right.
In fact, it was also, I think it was the same day when we were convincing people not to kill you or someone else. I can't remember who it was. You're at the top of a hill.
Was it Siege?
Yes!
Yeah,
You're at the
there
top
you
of the hill,
go.
and I was pleading with the fucking 15 dudes at the bottom of the hill to not go up. That was stress. That was
That was stressful because
I was sleep
Vivian
deprived.
wasn't able to figure out if she had to go fight people or just run the fuck away.
Yeah.
That was intense for her, and I just couldn't comprehend it myself.
I'd already said to everyone, we don't need a war with those guys. There's no point. We can just kill one dude. And everyone's like, well, let's go up there and kill them then. And I'm trying to explain to them, if you go up there, you'll just end up fighting everybody. And
exactly. Because
like,
no one's willing to let their group member die just like that without putting up a fight.
I think the way I reasoned it was, there's no way in which 15 people are going to lose to the 4 people in the open on the hill. But who out of the 15 wants to be the one that gets killed in the process of killing them?
Exactly. There are
like,
going to be casualties.
Yeah.
When you're in a situation like that, when it's like, 4 against 15, it's like you don't have anything else to lose, and you will take someone down with you no matter what.
And that was the thing as well.
Like, to go through all of that.
The mob was getting so bad. I think it was... Oh, yeah, because I was sleep deprived, and I actually got pissed off, because Jackson started chatting shit. And that's when I fucking went off on Jackson and called him a cunt and all that sort of stuff in the middle of the field. But it was because he'd said something about killing me if I was stalling too much. And in my head, I'm going, right, I'm trying to genuinely stop this. And I went for a second, I was like, right, if 15 people want to fucking go, I'll go right now. Let's fucking have it. Let's fucking go. It's like, I don't give a fuck anymore, it's just me now. But yeah, shit, that was... Apart from the Battle of Long Barn, that was the most intense fucking moment of that iteration.
By the time all that happened, I was actually all the way over in Novod by the end
of
it.
Yeah. We knew you were stalling, like, we knew you'd fucked off, and I was just like, right, well, you gotta hope he's about somewhere.
I was making sure he was following me, so I could, like, make sure he's in a safe place, because I didn't want him to die. Vivian didn't want him to die, seeing how he was a part of Event Horizon, which is her family.
Yeah.
And she didn't want that to happen because of some bullshit that happened.
Should have just gave him up.
I mean, yes and no.
He was in the wrong. He deserved it.
Was he? No, because like I don't remember like the whole fucking some peace treaty or the fact that he can't step foot on the place.
He was asked to leave a property in which he was breaking the rules. He flagrantly broke the rules and then was shot at as a warning to leave. So he left. Someone went to follow him, and he turned around and was like, right, I'm going to fucking shoot you. And then killed the dude for just escorting him out of the vicinity. Very inflammatory, and for the Oasis, I know it was a fucking hellhole most of the time. But that's how you set examples.
Wait, what? What was his name?
Oh, Floor Bacon.
Him? Yeah, wait, so Floor Bacon. Yeah, Floor Bacon. I actually have the clip saved. So, like, everyone was saying to go kill him, right? And then he's like, if you want me to go deal with him, I can deal with it. Because I actually watched the clip not too long ago.
Right.
He's like, if you want me to actually go kill him, then I can go kill him. And then Catalina was very reluctant, but eventually she said yeah. And then I hear Fate say I heard Fate say, well, you heard the lady, go ahead. You know what to do. And then he just runs out. Yeah. And I'm watching from my binoculars, because I'm not, like, I wasn't fully in-game at that time. I was on the phone.
Yeah.
And I had just my mic muted. And then after that, I'm watching it happen, and then he pulls out his gun first. Floor Bacon pulls out his gun first. Jay gets up, pulls out his gun, moves towards the side, but because he had his, Floor Bacon had his gun on semi, he wasn't able to kill him first.
Yeah.
And then one of the Floor Bacon gets gunned down, and then I unmute my mic, I'm like, I did not know that it would fucking turn into that shit. Yeah. I thought it was just like, hey, get out of here. He wouldn't actually go up to him to go kill him, right? He has a life. He doesn't... No way, right? And then that shit just fucking happened.
Even then, this is the... I think I spoke to Tom about this in character when it came to the Oasis, because as much as Tom didn't like to recognise it, he was the feudal king of the Oasis. It was a feudal society, it was the point. And the problem with that scenario is that when things like that go down... if you look at it either way, the person's guilty from either side or innocent from either side. And it gets so politically muddy, it's easier just to kill them. So that everyone's like, right, fuck it, just deal with it. The politics of it are just, that's how you settle the water. Because that caused shit for like a week once he got away.
So long. And then we had Jackson come up to us say, hey, if you don't give us him... we'll come to your walls and kill you. And then I was setting up to fuck over Jackson, and then he wanted some sort of peace treaty after,
Yeah.
because I started actually showing him that, hey, I don't think you're a bad guy. I don't think you're the villain of this story. And then he's like, yeah, I try my best to be nice to people and whatnot. And then I decided to say, huh. So he's misunderstood. I see.
Yeah.
How about I just play along with this? And I tell him how I could help him in any way that I can.
Yeah.
And that I don't see him as a villain and whatnot. And then he finally took that peace treaty. And I think that's why he stops wanting to kill me.
Yeah.
And then Henry comes along.
For a week, I had been saying to Jackson, do this, don't do this, and do this. So then I could go to fucking Ava and go, you know the peace treaty is just taking the piss, right? You know they're going to break it.
Yeah,
you know this
like,
peace treaty,
hello?
you could use that. I just
Me
started going,
and Event Horizon were just like, huh?
well,
So it
you
was
guys
all
were beneficial.
clickbait.
Innit? You guys were a group that we could work with, and we thought maybe we could bring you closer to the Oasis. It seemed like a
Yeah.
group that could work. So we were like, right, well, the common denominator is getting rid of Jackson. So let's get rid of Jackson. The
Jesus
only way I know
Christ.
how, crack my knuckles, run up to him in a field, go, hey bro, they're not going to honor the peace treaty. By the way, this wedding, you're going to get gunned down. You know they're planning to kill you, right? Which was absolutely the fucking scenario. That was the plan. Yeah, no, and the original idea was that Ava
Fucking
wouldn't
wedding
even
would have
know
been
about
a
it.
disaster. What the fuck?
Yeah, it was literally, we were making jokes that it was going to be the Red Wedding, because it really was just going to be the Red Wedding.
Honestly.
It was going to be fucked. Like, we genuinely planned that, it got down to the point of, when the person said, does anyone have anything to say about this, whatever the fuck, does anyone have any, like, rejections or anything? That was
Yeah.
when we were going to spring the trap. And, yeah, no, then the idea changed, and Tom and I gaslit Ava into making a plan to kill Jackson.
Fucking
Yeah, I was gonna
hell.
say, didn't he died before the wedding, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he died at the planning for the wedding.
I'm very surprised that the wedding went as smoothly as it did. I
I thought there'd be some other
wild.
shit. Yeah,
I
like,
honestly thought they would.
oh, dude, right, the funniest fucking thing, right? When we're taking Jackson away to go to the planning, Joella and I think it's Habit come with him, and they're just like, we're just like, no, it's just Jackson. This is the wedding planning committee. We have to keep it private for the ceremony and security. And they're like, no, we have to go with him with his bodyguards. The biggest moment where all of us inside our heads just went, what the fuck, was when Jackson was like, no, it's alright, guys, you just stay here. We're like, what?
Damn.
Huh? And we get there, like, it was just like, what the fuck? That he just removed, like, the two issues we had with the plan.
Alright.
We deal with him and all that sort of shit. I get back and Joella comes up to me and goes, where's Jackson? I'm like, I don't know, he just headed south. Because we knew about the cannibals that were running on the rail line. I was like, oh, he said he was heading south, he was going to follow the rail or something like that. I was like, okay, well, you know. And a week later, Joella's just like, so Jackson's dead. I'm like, I don't know that, I haven't heard anything. She's like, well, we haven't heard from him, and he hasn't gone around. I was like, well, I don't know. Last time I heard, he was around the railway, and you know the cannibals, they're kind of chilling around there.
Yeah.
But she basically got to the point of, like, I know you fucking killed him, just admit it. Like, I think it was maybe one of the last days, and she's just like, please just admit that you killed him. I'm
Right.
like, no.
I remember Henry or Ava pulling Detective Hardy aside in game because Hardy had a grudge against Jackson for taking out Vanguard.
Mm.
And you're like, yeah, we took care of Jackson. And then, like, at a surprise, Detective Hardy's like, oh, you killed Jackson. What? He says it out loud.
You, Tom, Blevin, Ava, Henry, you killed Jackson.
He said it out loud, like, real loud. He's like, shut the fuck up.
I still genuinely, I wish that Ava never uploaded the clip until the iteration was over, because it would have
Yeah.
been amazing.
Because
But-
people, like, instantly meted it. People, like, instantly...
Well, that's why
like,
Joella came up to me.
Where is he?
Yeah, like, if she had doubt, then it would have been cool, but
Yeah.
no. And
Yeah.
the most mental part was, like, okay, not only did Jackson dismiss the two people that would have backed him up, Tom handcuffed himself trying to handcuff Jackson after going, Jackson, we need to have a conversation. And he just stood there He's
That
like,
was so
oh,
funny.
ha ha. He didn't think, oh, I'm fucked. He didn't think, oh yeah, this is genuine. It's like, we all sort of like, huh? What the fuck is going on here? Oh,
That is
that's
fucking hilarious.
the most bizarre, like, 2 days we had on this
Honestly,
server.
I thought the more that I was around Ava, the more like the closer my death was approaching.
Oh, Ava was a
because of
fucking psychopath.
Jackson.
People don't give Ava credit for how much of a psychopath she was. Just genuine.
Like
just
it got to a
fucking-
point where I wanted to be that careful where I messaged everyone in Event Horizon where I was, who I was with, and like what time I'm expected to get back.
Yeah.
And if you don't hear a message within these few minutes, I'm fucked.
Something's
Yeah.
happened here.
I took so many precautions because I felt like one day when I'm trying to return back to Event Horizon, I'm just gonna hear, "Hey Vivian,
Yeah.
put your hands up for me, buddy."
All right, Vivian, drop your hands. Drop your guns on the floor. Right,
It's
don't
just
tell me.
something like that.
Did
See, the worst part is, right, I got so paranoid that if somebody even went, alright, by the time the alright was done, I was like, alright, we're fucking going. Like, my weapon wheel was up to get going.
Yeah,
It's fucking
yeah.
awful. Some dude, as a joke, tied my hands up while I was outside of the Oasis. And as I'm struggling out, I'm like, I'm genuinely deciding as I'm doing this whether or not I'm going to shoot you in the fucking face. He's just like, bro, it's a joke. I don't understand what the problem is. It's like, nah, you don't get it.
tie random people
Yeah.
up.
3
You-
days ago, I killed a dude doing that exact fucking thing. Don't play with me.
It's, just, it's high alert kind of thing because
Yeah,
you don't know
yeah.
who the fuck wants to kill you.
Yeah, you're always
Vivian
like,
wanted to kill so many people around her, but she
Yeah.
kept those urges just because she had a bit of a god complex, complex kind of thing, where she saw Event Horizon as a family, but she also saw herself as a queen.
yeah,
And that she was above people, and that people were just test subjects and stuff like
Yeah.
that. However, obviously, she never really showed these things unless she was drunk and directing it towards Alexei. Because Alexei's the one person who has overheard a lot of this shit and seen
Yeah.
a lot of this shit.
Didn't she kill that one guy with the baseball bat? What was his name?
Oh yeah, Kenny.
Yeah, Kenny.
Dude, it was so awkward because in the rejuvenation thing, the Great Sky Sesh, right? The dude spawns next to me. I'm like, oh, hey, stranger, what's your name? And he's like, oh, my name's Kenny. The same fucking voice and everything. I'm like, oh. Nice to meet you, Kenny. He's like, oh, what's your name? I said, my name's Vivian. He's like, oh, you seem familiar. I'm like,
there were heartbreaking
Oh.
moments in that. Like, when, so, of all the time we spent trying to kill each other, DS and well, Johnny and his brother, and me and Mike had never spoken. We'd never
Yeah.
seen each other, we'd never spoken in game. The closest we came was when we ambushed them at Devil's Castle. And that was, they were on the other side of the wall, we never actually saw each other. Actually, no, I missed the shot on Botzilla. And I sat on a wall, like, watching the sunset on my own. And DS, like, ran up and sat next to me. She's being like, oh, hey, bro, what's going on? And we had this really, like, somber conversation of going, you know what? I don't know why we did it, and I don't know why we were trying to kill each other. And
That
so
hurts.
many
Shit like
people
that,
died.
just,
Like, yeah,
wow.
we just, like, ran through the list of people that died. And he was just
Fuck.
like, oh, yeah, the day that so-and-so died. I was like, what was that? He's like, when we got shot outside of the gate, and I was like, yeah, I killed that dude. He's like, he was a good guy. He was a really nice guy. I'm like, yeah, well, you know, so were these people, and it's just like,
exactly. And that,
It
like,
was so
child
sad.
that Tom killed as well.
Mm.
I felt bad. Despite them being a cannibal, I still felt bad.
Oh.
Vivian humanized them as well. The
wait, was that the
cannibals.
one that got gunned down outside the Oasis?
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck that guy. I was screaming at him, saying put the fucking gun down, and then he just got fucking mowed. That was heartbreaking as well. That was when, Thingy died. Patrick died. Because,
Yeah.
in the clip, we all
He's
shot, like,
the
put the
one guy
fucking
that
gun
gets
down.
shot.
Yeah, and it's out of the corner of my vision. So when the guy drops to the floor, someone goes, oh, fuck, is he dead? And I go, yeah, goddamn right, he's fucking dead. And I turn around, there's Patrick's body in front of me. I'm like, oh.
It was like 10
And I was
people.
panicking. Like, you know, you were saying
one.
earlier about how when you see the people that you've been with actually dead, there's like a level of grief there.
It hurts,
And it
man.
genuinely, I was like, fuck! Because this was the
There was
day after we all
yeah.
decided to die at Devil's Castle.
There
It's like,
was-
what
oh
the
man, dude! Like there was also a person from Event Horizon, Via,
Yeah.
who was in love with Alexei, and some stupidity got her killed. The person's fucking banned now, but some stupidity got her killed. And I kid you not, I just couldn't function after seeing her die. It hurt so much just seeing Survivor just on the ground, and fuck me, man, it was rough.
Man.
Yeah.
When you really get close to a character and you see them dead, and you know that it's a perma, you know that there's no getting out of it because it was a
Yeah.
legitimate death, it fucking hurts. It
Yeah.
hurts.
It's man, one of the saddest moments was so the Moravians always buried everyone at Bereziki on a hill. It's like this fishing village that no one ever goes to. It's really nice. And Catalina and I went out and buried him next to two other Moravians, Mike and John. And we got back to Catalina's house, and it was like, yeah, Mike. It was Mike, John, Ben, and Patrick that we buried there, I think. And we get back. I'm like, I realized I'm the only dude left. I really am the only Moravian left, other than Tom, that was technically Moravian. And we just sat and like shared a bottle of vodka. And we're just like, yeah, everyone's fucking dead. Like, they're all gone. It doesn't matter now. Like, what the fuck do we do? It's awful. Genuinely depressing.
That shit hurts, man.
Mm.
Oh,
I imagine that's probably how Metallurg felt after Kieran left. Because he left thinking he was gonna not have any free time left whatsoever. So, but then he realized he was. So after he permed his character, it was too late. But because I remember reading a lot of journals, it's just about oh well, nobody's around the hotel anymore. Everybody's dead. I think Fraser, a couple other people. Because you do get a connection to people, especially when you roleplay with them, like for a month or more. It's, you put like 30, 40 hours to the same, around the same characters, and then they just kind of disappear, and it's like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, I don't think people realize, like, it's a really dumb comparison, but you know the show Love Island? So, people always make the joke that it's people in this, like, they spend, 5 weeks in this villa, but they don't realize that when you spend an isolated amount of time, with that amount of time, with such a small group of people, it accelerates the time that you know them by. And so when you know these characters for quite extended amounts of time, it's actually... I probably ended up, specifically for the time that I was playing in that iteration, I put a huge amount of time into that server for the amount of shit that went on and being on for as long as I was. You really get to know these characters, and they are extensions of those people anyway. Like, most people are just themselves with minor changes. That's usually the best characters that come out.
Yeah.
And it's why it's so fucking heartbreaking when someone dies. Like when John died during the Devil's Castle raid, I saw his jacket in the pile of bodies out the outside, and it was just like, it's that realization of just, we lost one. It's like, fuck, man.
Right.
it hits,
I'm not gonna
man.
lie, dude. I cried like a bitch. Like my third month in the server. When Vanguard killed Jason, he was like the first real character interaction I had.
Yeah.
And
Was
the
that the guy
server.
that you were blocking? Like they went to kill him and you stood in front of him? Or...
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, it fucking hit me. Like, I was over here crying. I'm like, well, what the fuck's wrong with me? This is just a video game. But then I was like,
Yeah, dude.
this is the first
I remember,
character.
shit. It's just so much.
Hits you
that
sometimes.
happens. It hits. It really does. I remember just having a walk with Alexei, which was just the closest person to her. And essentially it felt like it was the last time they would ever talk.
Yeah.
Because there was this big old raid on Vybor, right? And Vivian was taking part in it because, for the sole factor that the commander said that there would be medication in Devil's Castle by the CDC that could help Alexei with his radiation poisoning, and she wanted to fight for that reason, even if it killed her.
Mm.
And the realization that, hey, everyone we know in this Devil Castle raid, or this raid right now, could die.
Yeah.
Even I could die. However, I cherish every moment that I spent with you. I kid you not, I had to like log off for like 30 minutes because I was bawling my eyes out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the thing, I suppose. It probably wasn't the case, but the way it felt for us, like if we take the big Devil's Castle raid, for example, like when it was me, John, and Mike that showed up in red jackets and plate carriers, and that was just more or less a joke. It wasn't that we were trying to be identifiable. And we sort of stood about, and I think whoever was saying, they were like, "Oh yeah, people say goodbye to people," and we all turned to not doing that because our whole thing was that, okay, well, we're gonna die, and if today's the day, who cares? Like, let's just get the fucking job done. And we
Yeah.
always thought like that was probably what got us through half the situations, was not worrying about anything. Whereas other people were like, oh well, if I sit here and out of the way, and it turns out that's long enough for someone to run behind you and shoot you and all that sort of shit. And it was like, slowly that mentality got broken down just as I saw people die, and it was like, fuck, it doesn't matter what I do, I'm gonna catch a bullet one day. But
Right.
I saw the clip. So Tom and I, Tom used to do runs around the map to truck stashes just to get sheet metal and things. And I went on a trip with him, and I was listening to the audio of it today, and we took stock of like everything that had happened, everything that we'd done, and all the stuff that was built, and all of that. And I sound genuinely depressed when we're discussing the options about it. When we both make the decision, we were in Electro picking up sheet metal. I was just like, you know what? I think it's time I leave. Do you want to come with me? And Tom's just like, you know what? Yeah, fuck it. I don't have any stock here. Let's go. We just get back in the truck, and it's like, all right, let's get it back. Let's put the sheet metal up and figure out what we're doing. It's just like, that's when we decided, let's leave the Oasis open. Let's blow up all the explosives, see if we can take a house down, and fuck off. But yeah, dude, that
when
was.
you have roleplay experiences like that, it's different. It's fucking amazing.
That's what I mean when I say sometimes it got like really heavy. Was
Yeah.
because I'd be like, I don't know, I'd get up in the morning and make a cup of tea, and while I'm making the cup of tea, I'm thinking, right, okay, well, this person died last week, so that means I have to do this, and I have to speak to these people, and fucking, meanwhile, there's 3 people trying to kill me, how do I avoid that? And I was just like, I remember I went for like a hospital appointment, I was sat in the waiting room listening to something, and someone sent me a text about something, about something to do with their car, and the first thing I thought was, oh shit, I've got to move this car out of the way, or someone will know I've been there, and that's a reason to kill me. And it was like, oh, fuck yeah, I'm way in too deep, and I need to remove myself. So I think I didn't play the server for like a week just to not be in that mindset, because it really got to me, the amount of shit that I was thinking about.
Yeah, but like, I continued because it was summer for me, and it's just, what else do I have to do?
That's it.
Right.
That's it, dude. It's all I want to do.
I was on an in between. I got my place for university, so everything was set to go, and I literally just had like 5 months of waiting to do. So it's like, right, well, I've got fuck all else to do. I've got other stuff to get on with in my free time, but
Obviously,
other than that, it was okay. Well, let's just do this thing and see how far we can take it. And I actually, you can never put things really that you do in games in general into a real life context. But now I can look at all of that shit and all of the organization that went into it, and it's like, okay, I definitely know that if I had to get somewhere where I have to like manage 7 people at once while a building's burning down and I'm trying to get something done, I'm fairly certain and fairly confident that I can do it based off of the amount of fucking stress I went through trying to keep everything going in that server.
That.
Yeah, man. But you can't ever say that to someone. You couldn't ever go to a job interview and go, yeah, I did all of this for ages. If you put that in a real context, if you was like, oh yeah, I operated in Afghanistan for 7 months with a battalion and we did all of
Exactly,
this and all
yeah.
that sort of shit. Meanwhile, I was getting mortared and all that fucking stuff. Then people would go, yeah, that's good for a job role. But if you go, oh yeah, I murdered people online, spread rumors, basically was the CIA for 6 months, built a feudal society in the middle of a fucking country. Yeah. Like, nah, that shit.
It's just like, yeah, because it's the whole fact that it's a game is what just it feels so fucking real.
That's
though.
it.
When you immerse yourself in it, you wake up with that shit looming over you, like, oh fuck, what the fuck's gonna happen today? Oh shit, did I say this to this person? Oh
Right.
man, are we running low on supplies? It's just in your head
There is
as if
no
it's a
other
genuine
feeling.
problem.
Yeah, there's no other game where one of the most important things about Daisy in terms of RP is the fact that you can free look and the fact that your character's head moves and looks and blinks and the mouth moves when they speak.
Exactly.
Because
yeah.
obviously eye contact's so important in real life and head movement's so important. There's no other game where you can walk into a room and another player-controlled character can nod at you in saying hello
Yeah.
without saying anything. That's
Right.
so important. That's why Daisy is so different compared to other games. Like,
Yeah.
obviously, there's, I don't know, narratively speaking, like Red Dead 2, that's got an emotional aspect to it, it's a story and all that sort of stuff. It's not the
Yeah.
same as an entirely organic story in which
That's
people
so true.
more or less act human.
With no
Like, they
NPCs.
really do.
Yeah.
And like,
It's
cause
mad.
when I talk, I use my hands like I'm fucking doing that shit right now,
Yeah.
and I move my body as well, like a shit ton in game to kind of just, cause it feels right. It just shows. I even use hand gestures at times. It just, it feels so human
Yeah.
at times.
Yeah.
It feels like a real world. Despite the glitches and shit that can break immersion at times.
Oh, yeah.
It's so, it feels like you're in that situation that you need to diplomatically solve certain things because you know that someone's coming after you,
Yeah.
that you know someone on your team is being hunted down,
Yeah.
that you know something about someone else and don't know if you could tell it to them. And just
I
you
mean,
don't
the
know who to
proximity
trust, you
helps
don't
as
know what
well,
to do.
right?
It's just
The
crazy.
proximity chat's important because
Very, yeah.
one of the really good games that for immersion as well is Hell Let Loose, just purely because gunfights are just mad. There's not really games like that. You know, seeing a tank makes you shit yourself, almost literally. So when that happens, it's fine. You're in a squad or you're in a party, and you can. It doesn't matter where you are on the map. You can just go, oh hey, by the
Just
way, this is
talk.
happening. Or it's not the same as
Right.
being next to somebody in a ditch in Daisy, having a bullet go over your head and go, fuck.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Or they're halfway down the ditch and all you hear is, fuck!
Exactly.
You know,
Like,
you've got to
just
turn
that
and look,
fact.
and you're most likely
Yeah.
free looking because you can't move. It's really fucking intense.
And then
There's
just, like-
nothing like it.
Oh, fuck, man.
Yeah,
And
definitely
when, like,
built
your friend is
roleplay.
dying and there's nothing you can do about it, they're bleeding out and you're out of options.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You say that you're in the middle of a fucking war zone or some shit. Your friend's dying next to you.
Yep.
And just saying that they're not going to make it and this and that. It feels unbelievably real. And it's terrifying how real it feels.
You know those scenes in films, I can't think of a specific example, but it's like a dude is on a hill and he's watching a disaster happen, where just like
Yeah.
loads of people are dying. When the Battle of Longbarn happened, I was stood in a house with binoculars and I was watching dudes get mowed down behind hay bales in front of this barn, and it's just like I can see where people need to go, but they can't see where they need to go, and they're just in this funnel of dying. I was like, fuck, I can't do anything. I can't shout. I don't have a radio. I can't do fuck all. And it's just
Yeah.
like, all these other dudes around me are doing nothing. It's like, right, well, okay, now all I can do is proximity chat, shout at the people closest to me, hope they'll follow me, and then hope that I don't die on the way to where we need to go. And it's just, ever since then, finding other people's stories, I don't think there's many people left in the server still playing that were there, but even after the battle, finding people that were there and speaking to them in character of like being veterans of this fucking event and finding their own little stories and seeing how we fit into each other's stories, it's just not the same as like any other game. That doesn't
Honestly,
happen in a different game.
it
It's
doesn't.
mad.
It really doesn't. It's because of
Yeah.
how realistic DayZ is and how realistic they set it to be.
Mm.
I wish that it was just a solely roleplay server. Just
Yeah.
DayZ was just solely roleplay, just because of how realistic they try to make the game to be as for a survival game. But it's
Right.
So I know they
amazing.
fixed it, but the main thing that would fix that as well, to go like one step further, I put in a ticket to Bohemia. It got approved, it got assigned, and it got fixed. And what it is in the settings, you can actually there's a setting to turn off the name that comes up when you hover over players, and
Really?
turn off the thing that appears at the top of your screen when people speak to you in voice chat.
Wait,
That's
you
an
can turn that
active
off now?
setting. Huh?
You can do that now.
You can't do it now.
Oh,
So the
fuck,
issue
I
is,
hope
it's
that
been
happens.
fixed, it's good to go. The only issue at the moment is whether Sony will allow it for anonymity reasons, because the only other way you can guess the person that you're speaking to is if they tell you their username or
Right.
you see it on the server list.
Th-
There's a
but
few
they-
other issues that came up when I discussed it. I mentioned this is when I was a trial mod. I put it in and I said, look, this is something that's actually getting dealt with and all that sort of stuff. And there were a few issues raised, like tickets and how do we deal with that sort of thing. But
Yeah, 'cause
generally,
it's
in
hard
context,
to-
you know who you're speaking to. But
It's hard to disguise yourself if you like go and
Yeah.
hiding for something and then.
yeah, you can actually start to be recognized. Like, obviously, people recognize
Yeah.
each other off the way they dress. They generally don't change. But that would go a long way. Masks would mean a thing now.
Yeah.
All that
And
sort of stuff.
unfortunately, there's been times where people have recognized me for my thingy. Because when I play a different character, like when I'm pretending to be someone else, I change anything and everything about me
Yeah.
to make sure that I can look completely different. And sometimes they'll be like, say that I had my name is like fucking, I don't know, Dave, and then
Yeah.
my fake name was Bob. They'll say, "Oh, hey, Dave," and I'm like,
Yeah.
Who's
like-
Dave? It's
Yeah.
just because they see the gamer tag and they know you as that person. It's just sometimes it can get really irritating.
That is a thing you can turn off, but it's not functional
Mm.
on PlayStation, unfortunately. I really wish
There is supposed
that
to-
you could do it, but
Yeah, there's supposed to be an update in the roadmap that included VoIP, so I don't know what that.
Yeah.
I swear it's the shout and whisper feature.
Oh yeah.
that, yeah. So I think there is actually a feature of VoIP at the moment, in which if you're louder on a microphone or quieter on a microphone, it affects the radius in which zombies react to you. But the shout and whisper function, yeah, I could do with that. That would be really helpful.
Honestly, because sometimes people can just hear that little bit that you don't want them to hear, and it
Yeah.
fucks everything up.
Yeah,
Right.
it's fucking awful.
Like that time when I said that I would literally do anything to see Stephen French's head on a fucking pike when I was about to kill Crimson. He heard that last part.
Oh Christ. Yeah, no. I and again, like, I've played this game now for 10 years, and I didn't think. Obviously, I knew the game was just different to most other games, but until playing an RP server that had the value mixed in with obviously the other stuff, it's hard to think of moving to different servers because of how this one is set up. And
Honestly,
it doesn't seem
yeah.
like other servers have the value. Like, there's other RP servers that don't incentivize permadeaths and things like that. Like,
Right.
it doesn't incentivize the importance of the characters. There are people that fuck around with the characters. There are people that make joke characters. There are people that don't ever fucking try. Sometimes those joke characters turn into really beloved characters because they've been alive for so long and, you know, people don't stick to it. But there's just nothing really like this game, and it's purely because of how much this game helps RP. And the devs know it. They do know it. They take note of the RP communities and things like that. It's not as big as it used to be, but I mean, when the mod started, RP was like the thing that it started as. It didn't really start as oh, let's just get loot and kill each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's genuinely
Yeah.
people trying to have interactions. This is probably, obviously aside from the rule sets and things like that, which are there obviously for clear reasons. This is the most original form of DayZ that you have, really. RP is the fundamental origin of
Yeah.
this game, really. But yeah, it's terrifying how real some of it can get.
Oh, it
It's
is,
like,
man. Like I was trying to say
I just
earlier,
hate how it's more PvP lean because it could be such
Yeah.
a great game if it was RP focused and if people saw it as RP focused more. But
Mm.
unfortunately, not everyone will see it that way.
Well, the draw of DayZ over other games, like if we take the normal game for example, like the draw of the game is that it's supposed to be boring for about 20 hours for the 10 seconds that are, you shit yourself because
Yeah.
I explained it to someone that asked me what the game was about, and it was like, you and this one other person have separately maybe spent a combined 60 hours gearing up characters. You both meet, and by the end of the next 2 minutes, one of you is going to lose that 40 hours of progress. And your goal is to not be that person and shortcut all the progress they put into it. And they were like, that sounds metal as shit. I'm like, absolutely. So then when you put it in an RP context, RP can stall that time as well. Like, you can go like 2 weeks without having a hostile interaction or even an argument with someone, but that can build up to a fucking massive conflict.
Yeah.
And then it's like 3 hours in a massive battle or gunfight or something like that, and then it's something that's talked about for the next 3 months because of how big it was. Like, the politics are just as stressful and interesting as the gunfights are in this game. But,
That's so true. Yeah.
I don't think everybody. I don't think everybody has the as mean as it sounds. I don't think they have the capacity to be involved in the politics. Some people aren't built for negotiations. Some people
That's
aren't built
so
to
true.
listen. Like,
yeah,
A
I
lot
don't
of
think
people
there's-
don't really like to think about the obvious, how many people can die, resources you needed to use, how many people are going to get involved, and just don't think about stuff like that.
as with anything, fucking logistics are a pain in the ass, and
Mm.
you know it's real when you're sat in a cabin taking stock of things to make sure that you can do something right. That's
Yeah.
a fucking state. I remember giving Mike a list of shit that we needed to raid Vanguard. It was a stupid long list because it was like, oh yeah, there's 4 guys here with fuck all. We need to arm them, so we need to spend a day getting all their shit together, get some body armor, get enough explosives. Tom and I, when we were planning the second Devil's Castle raid, set up fences in a field to specifically test cooking pot bombs and different types of explosives that were more efficient to get through the gates. It just got fucking stupid. Like, weeks of prep for some of that stuff. But it was fun. It was just something to do, and
Right.
it built up to it. Built the stakes of it. But,
It's worth it.
and then
I have
sometimes it doesn't work out. Sometimes you go and do it, and they're not in. Sometimes you go and do it, and someone else has done it. Sometimes you go and do it, half your guys die, and then the other time it goes well.
Yeah. It's hard to predict. I think the moment I knew I was hooked was like when I sat in a bush one time for 4 hours on like a stakeout, waiting for somebody to walk out of their base.
Yeah, dude.
I was like, all right,
That's
it's been 4 fucking hours.
me and Mike had that moment. Like, I've known Mike for maybe a year before we joined the server, and some of the other guys I've known longer, and some of them shorter. And we would do shit like that on official servers. Like, we'd track people, and sometimes we'd just sit on a hill for an hour and watch somewhere, and take note of when people were in bases and things. And that's when the alt problem was really big. So everybody had 6 alt accounts, and you're paranoid if you're in a base because you know someone's going to log in and fucking shoot you. And when we planned to drop the cannibals around their base, we'd already gone there the morning of, and sat there for an hour in ghillie suits in the spot that we got them in the end. And then we were like, right, let's fuck off. Then we heard about the tip, went back and sat there for like 2.5 hours waiting for them to come back. And me and Mike are just like, oh yeah, we've reverted back to how it was in official because we had to just have patience to sit and wait. If we knew they were about, we knew they were going home. You just wait. It's like, yeah, it was atmospheric as fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah. You never know
There's-
when you're walking past a ghillie. It's terrifying.
Oh, right. Yeah, good God, that is hard to spot. I did want to say though, I thought about putting this in the suggestion box. Um, I wonder because we were talking about disguises. See, I don't know. I can't. I don't even think I've ever changed my PSN name.
Mm.
Is that like a big deal, or can you actually? Because I assume you would have to make a ticket, but
You have to make a ticket so they can
whitelist.
whitelist it. Yeah.
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 But like the ease of changing your PSN name and the settings, like do you have to?
I think.
I don't think I've never really. I don't think I've tried it in a couple years, or since I got a PS4. So
Huh. I don't know. I think that.
but like
I suppose if you're using a
It's very easy. I think you just need your password, and then your first one's free. As long as your thingy name is appropriate, you can
Yeah.
just change it whenever. As long
Hmm.
as your first one's free, but then you have to start paying for it.
yeah.
Oh, there's plenty of people that would pay for a disguise.
Oh, good God, yeah. I think every character would be great if you're able to
Yeah.
like every character in the server. You're like, okay, you can get a free name
Hmm.
PSN name change.
I
Like we'll
don't like
whitelist
the
you.
suggestions about disappearing though. I don't like it when
Mm.
I get that people sometimes get bored of characters and want to try something else, but it's such a bad idea to be able to just drop in and out when you feel like it. Because nah, people will just avoid conflict instead of dealing with it like a man.
Makes sense.
Someone wants you
Yeah.
dead, kill them first. Find a way.
I don't think you can. I don't think. I think once you're in the permas, you're not coming
You're
back.
done.
Right.
Unless you appeal it during the 24-hour period.
Right.
What if you have a character go away?
Mm.
Yeah, you can kind of
Oh, yeah.
appeal it.
But if it's temporary, like, I know some people have suggested, hey, can I take a break from a character, play someone else, and come back to that character later? That's a very bad idea. What's that? Yeah.
Right.
Why am I being pinged? I'll never forget. Oh yeah, Richard B. I already mentioned him today about the interrogation. Said I'll never forget it. Best interrogation I ever experienced. Shatner-esque pauses had me questioning my own mentality and morality. And it was just a joke. It wasn't serious. Love it.
Habits here. Hey, buddy. Proper based lad. Proper based. I mean, like
Oof.
my brain's hurting.
It is nearly 3 a.m.
It
I have
is.
online college tomorrow.
Oh
I'm gonna have to hit the hay.
Yeah, I hear you.
And by
I
hit the hay,
should
I
have.
mean stay in bed and stay up until 5 a.m. until I
Right.
try. I just
I
want to get
should've
offline
known.
before I stay up for too long.
I should have known better to invite. This is not my deed to a podcast.
This is what you get. You get damn near 5 hours of podcast. It's all your fault.
24-hour podcast type.
Goddamn right, have it. Sigma grind set. Kill them before they kill you.
Have a
my
good night,
God.
everyone.
All right. Yeah, I'm gonna get going as
later.
well, so.
Yeah, it's
Right,
been.
lovely chatting.
Thank you so much, guys.
You're welcome.
Later. Holy shit. Cope. Yeah, I gotta cope. This is 7 hours of podcast. I don't know. It's been 2 videos. Thanks for stopping by, Habit. I'll see you, bud.